Have you heard? It's truck news.
Yes, 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 yes. No.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck. 'Cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel, electricity, and on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show, oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your host, Holman.
Welcome back. This episode of the Truck Show podcast, Have You Heard, is proudly brought to you in partnership with AMSOIL, the maker of the best synthetics and the same ones we use in our rigs. And of course, AMSOIL is more than just synthetic oil. They make some great car care products. And right now, the current promotion is a free 16-ounce bottle of AMSOIL's Quick Detailer with any order of $100 or more by using the code DETAIL626 by June 30th. We love Quick Detailer's easy spray-on, wipe-off application. It wipes away light dust and debris between washes and offers a streak-free finish that's safe for clear coats and all coatings. And we love the strawberry melon scent. Makes you want to spray it on everything. When you're done with your rig, you'll do your wife's car and you'll do your kids' cars as well. We use AMSOIL products to protect our rigs, and you can do the same by heading to AMSOIL.com or by heading to TruckShowPodcast.com and going under our featured products tab, where you can use our special AMSOIL link found there. Do you need a knife? Then head on over to Kershaw.kaiusa.com and explore Kershaw's line of exceptional pocket knives. Kershaw has a huge selection of quality knives from EDCs and ones made in the USA, as well as automatics. Score one for yourself today. If you want to treat yourself to the latest in adventure, gear, and upgrades for your vehicle, go to OVRmag.com and use the code @TruckShowPodcast for a discount on print or 1-year access to our digital library for free. The Truck Show podcast survives off sponsorships and your reviews. Please help me to keep it free by supporting our sponsors and leaving reviews and comments on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Have you heard?
No!
There's a ton of news, so we'll have a few Have You Heards in a row to get caught up, and then we'll be back to our regular rotation of short and long form. But for this episode, we're going to start off with TRX pricing. So the 2027 Ram TRX is back, as you know, and the price for the 777 horsepower Hellcat powered truck has been announced. The Hellcat powered truck is going to cost you $102,790. That includes an insane destination fee of $2,795. That's a down payment on some vehicles. I mean, obviously, percentage-wise, it's like, 2% of this one, but that has to be one of the higher destination fees in America. That is a ridiculous number. That being said, that's the price for the standard truck. As you know, there's also a limited run, which is the Bloodshot Night Edition. That's the one that has the two-tone, and it has the flame red hood strip, splash graphics on the exterior, red accents on the interior, all that kind of stuff. Well, you have to take into account just under that is the RHO. So $102,790. What do you think? Would you buy a TRX for that kind of money, or would you just get the RHO, which is the exact same truck, essentially, but with the really sweet 540 horsepower turbocharged inline six, which is known as the Hurricane High Output? What do you think? That or the 777 horsepower, 680 pound-foot of torque TRX, which will run 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and top out at 118 miles per hour? I don't know. Sounds to me like a lot of coin for a great truck. And I got to tell you that when I had the TRX for a year as our long-termer with four-wheeler, it was one of my favorite trucks of all time and one of the best trucks I ever had. It did everything well, and I can definitely see the appeal. All right, next up in news is, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Pennsylvania, there's a guy who is facing a bunch of felony charges, allegedly. He attempted to pass off a retired NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race truck as a street legal pickup. In fact, it was a 1999 Chevrolet S10 VIN that was put on the race truck, which, as we all know, is not the right way to do it. So the Pennsylvania State Police said 52-year-old Yancey Cupp, who, by the way, sounds 100% like a NASCAR driver, purchased the race truck and then installed the VIN plate from the S10 and then used that now fraudulent VIN to obtain his title. And then this is the big mistake. Instead of just putting it in his barn and driving it every once in a while, he decided to sell the vehicle on eBay and it was later sold at a Carlisle auto auction for $10,000. So this piqued the interest of investigators who say the listing had claimed that the truck had been converted for street use by its previous NASCAR owner, and that previous owner said, hey, I didn't do that. So the police examined the vehicle and then determined it was not street legal. It did have some functional items. It had headlights, taillights, turn signals, and a horn, but it still had its tube frame, the racing chassis, the racing V8, so it was not quite the S10 that it was being passed off as. And because of that, the police charged Yancey Cup with a bunch of offenses, and that includes alteration of a vehicle ID number, theft by deception, forgery, false application for a vehicle title, tampering with public records, deceptive business practices, and a bunch of other stuff related to fraud. And that should teach us all a lesson. There's a way to have fun the right way, and there's a way to have fun the wrong way. And if you're going to have fun the wrong way, don't out yourself by trying to sell your project on the internet where all can see. So don't go expecting a V8R variant of the Bronco Raptor or Ranger Raptor anytime soon or ever, as Ford has put the kibosh on speculation that an even more extreme Ranger Raptor R or Bronco Raptor R are in the pipeline. So Ford's performance chief engineer Carl Widman said there's no plans currently to build a R version of either vehicle, leaving the supercharged V8 F-150 Raptor R as the top dog flagship of the Raptor lineup. And kind of a surprising comment, Widman said about the Ranger Raptor, it may already have, quote-unquote, too much power. And I know Carl. Carl's a horsepower chassis guy, and that's a lot coming from him. He says, obviously, that the midsize pickup's twin-turbo 3-liter, which puts out 405 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, already give it a substantial performance advantage over every other truck in its class. But we all know, like, who cares what the rest of the class is doing? We just want something with a lot of stupid horsepower, right? But he went on to say because of its lighter weight, the Ranger Raptor is already exceptionally quick and capable off-road, and that led engineers to believe additional factory power is not necessary. So sorry, Ranger or Bronco Raptor fans. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but remember, Ford does offer performance calibrations for the Ranger Raptor from the factory, and there's also aftermarket tuners like Cobb. And some of those tunes are good for 45, 50 horsepower, I believe, which gets you real close to a Wrangler 392.
Whoa! That's not right.
It's not wrong either. Just saying. Here's a fun story that appeared on The Drive where Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe said the company has a growing mobile service network that's designed to reach customers almost anywhere. And he even mentioned even if they're stranded on the side of a mountain. So Rivian now has a fleet of roughly 800 mobile service vehicles, and that includes specialized Rivian service trucks that can travel off the beaten path to perform repairs wherever the vehicle is located. And according to Scaringe, mobile service accounts for just under 60% of all Rivian service work, and the company wants to increase that to 75 to 80% rather than requiring owners to visit a service center because many of the repairs and service can be completed in a customer's driveway or wherever the vehicle happens to be. So that's pretty cool. And because of the digital key and all that kind of stuff, technicians can access the vehicle without the owner being present. So that makes it super easy for service. And this is also kind of counter to the early experience because one of the brand's biggest early criticisms was that there were massively long waits for repair times. So you would schedule something and it would be 30, 45 or more days. And Scaringe said, listen, those delays have largely been resolved. We've expanded our mobile fleet, and now we're positioning mobile repairs as a key part of our long-term customer support strategy. So if you were an early Rivian adopter and you experienced those prolonged service times, that's not the case today, at least according to Rivian. So I just like the part where they said, hey, if you're stuck on the side of the mountain, we'll come get you, which makes me think of when I took the Rivian R1T down Black Bear Pass in Colorado as the first person to ever drive a fully electric vehicle, street legal vehicle? I don't know how many caveats I have to have on that, to go down there. And I was thinking, what if I would have broken the R1T there? But it was amazingly capable. And as you guys know, as far as electric trucks go, it's one of my favorites. So here's the shocker that came out of TFL Truck, and that is Toyota has provided an update for owners who are affected by the ongoing 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 engine recall. And the update says that the dealers will begin using a new diagnostic procedure to determine whether an engine actually needs to be replaced rather than automatically installing a new engine in every recalled truck. So technicians are going to first perform what's called a resonant frequency test that will be able to detect internal damage without tearing the engine apart. Now, if that test says the engine's healthy, Toyota's going to apply a software update and return the truck to the owner. If damage is detected, the engine will be replaced at no cost. But their recall now has more than 260,000 non-hybrid 22 to 24 Tundra and related Lexus SUVs. And just to bring you up to speed, the recall, we've talked about it, comes from machining debris left inside some engines during manufacturing, which can damage the bearings on the crankshaft. So then that leads to knocking, rough running, stalling, catastrophic engine failure. And Toyota's replaced thousands of engines already, but they say the new testing procedure will help identify which vehicles truly need replacement. So that means if you have one of those vehicles and you are expecting an engine, that might not be the case. So I don't know how you feel about that, but according to Toyota, the resonant frequency test is designed to identify bearing wear before it becomes a major problem. But the problem in my mind is if you already have the issue, what if your bearing's just not to the point where it's showing damage, but it could still fail, right? Owners whose vehicles fail the inspection will still get their brand new engine, but this targeted approach, which will be helpful for reducing repair times and strains on dealers, also might not sit well with some who think they have a ticking time bomb under the hood and aren't able to get into a different vehicle. What do you think? truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. So here's an interesting one from Ford, also along the same lines as the recall, and we know that Ford has had massive recall issues over the past few years. One of the worst companies when it came to that. I think they led the industry in 2025 with 153 recalls, and they've got more than 50 so far in 26. But Ford executives say those campaigns involve older vehicles rather than recently built ones. There's some JD Power news that we'll get to in the next episode that shows that they've turned the corner. But what's interesting is Ford is being really aggressive about improving quality and reducing recalls. So what they've done is implemented this daily engine teardown at every single engine plant in the world. So this initiative replaces their previous practice of tearing down engines every 90 days or only when they suspected there was a problem. Instead, one engine is pulled from the production line every day, run through testing, completely disassembled, inspected, and basically they can suss out any issues before they reach the customers. So the program started at Ford's Valencia, Spain engine plant. And that was a plant that consistently delivered the company's best quality metrics, and they had this procedure in place. So Ford has taken that and then also added a layer of predictive AI on top of it, and that helps determine which engine should be selected for teardown or analyzing manufacturer data to identify abnormalities that could point to future failures, and engineers can then focus their inspections on those areas. So now Ford's talking about this is a proactive rather than a reactive process. So the daily teardown program is just one part of Ford's big quality push. The company's also expanded durability testing. They run engines until they fail rather than stopping at predetermined targets of mileage. They've tightened oversight of suppliers who have poor quality records. And Ford's hoping that those measures will improve long-term reliability and reduce warranty costs and restore consumer confidence after years of leading the industry with allegedly subpar quality numbers. Ford hopes that all of these procedures and measures together will improve reliability, reduce warranty costs, and restore confidence. So good for Ford for really taking that seriously. And like I said, there's some news coming in the next Have You Heard where I think you'll be able to see some of the benefits of that. So this was kind of cool. It was on the drive. There's a rare batch of former Capitol Police Chevy Suburban HDs that made it into the private marketplace. And there were 6 2019 Suburban HDs that were originally manufactured for Capitol Police duty, and they feature a heavy-duty chassis, armored construction, and a bunch of other specialized law enforcement equipment. Most of the SUVs are powered by the 6-liter V8, and they have Lingenfelter superchargers on it, boosting the output to 650 horsepower. Of course, way more than stock. But those upgrades were designed to offset the tremendous amount of weight from the armored bodies. Obviously, that can add several thousand pounds compared to just a regular old Suburban. One non-armored example is included, but it does not have the supercharger. But it could be pretty awesome for whoever buys them to own a piece of that type of federal law enforcement automotive history, I guess. And if you're curious how they drive, one paragraph in this article stood out to me. That's when the owner said it drives like an absolute boat. So it says it doesn't want to turn, doesn't want to stop, just wants to go straight. That's it. So it's basically a, 7-8 seat muscle car, something like that. So you can go to thedrive.com and find the article, but I'm sure they're probably all sold by now because they were being offered for sale in Texas, but still very cool. Well, it looks like heavy-duty pickups, which to this point have escaped the same level of independent safety scrutiny as passenger vehicles, are going to, for the first time, be tested by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in terms of safety and eventually crash. And this is going to be safety evaluations around commercial-grade pickups and vans. It'll examine the features on these commercial vehicles like airbags, seatbelt technology, occupant protection systems, and the move reflects the growing popularity of heavy-duty trucks as personal vehicles rather than just work-only machines. So far, the IIHS has evaluated 3 of the 4 most popular heavy-duty pickups. So the 26 Chevy Silverado 3500 HD, the 2025 Ford F350 Super Duty, and the 2025 Ram 3500. The Chevy and the Ford earned top marks by passing every category evaluated, while Ram fell short due to its seatbelt reminder system. So the initial evaluations don't include crash data, but the IIHS intends to expand the program later this year with assessment of automatic emergency braking and headlight performance. And my guess is eventually they'll get into crash. So the IIHS says providing independent safety information can help fleet operators as well as retail buyers make more informed purchasing decisions while encouraging manufacturers to improve safety across the segment. In 2023, crashes involving heavy and medium-duty trucks and commercial vans accounted for roughly 16% of all U.S. roadway fatalities. I'm actually surprised that it's that high. All right, so for you Honda fans out there, Honda just released a new free companion app for the Trail Sport models, at least the Passport, Pilot, and CR-V, not the Ridgeline, and the reason for that is on a different architecture. The new Honda Trail Experience, or HTX app, can be downloaded, and it's designed to work through Apple CarPlay, and it'll work on the infotainment screen and gives you an off-road-centric information center, and it displays live vehicle data, so pitch and roll, steering angle, throttle input, engine temp, elevation, and GPS coordinates, so you can navigate challenging terrain. But this is what's cool. I mean, all that's like, okay, if you own a Jeep, you've got that screen. If you have a Raptor, you've got a screen like that. That's fine. And do you really need an app for that? But here's where the app makes it kind of cool. It's also a trail companion, so it records routes, logs trips, and it allows drivers to capture photos and even video, and then you can overlay the performance data on top of that footage while you're driving. And, of course, you can mount your iPhone anywhere within Bluetooth range, including outside the vehicle, to film your adventures. Then you'll export the videos, complete with trail maps and vehicle telemetry for sharing. And then the app supports up to 6 real-time data points at once. It's available for iPhone, Android support coming in the future. And Honda says they created the app after having input from more than 1,500 Trail Sport owners and did a bunch of real-world testing. So that's pretty cool. I mean, Honda's definitely making a big push into off-road, and these are kind of baby steps compared to the competition. But Honda dominates, in places like motorcycles and ATVs and UTVs. Like, why wouldn't they get serious about off-roading in their vehicles? I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of love for Honda as an off-road brand, and if Honda has any type of serious intentions of entering the space, I bet they already have a customer base ready to go. And if you're a fan of the Nissan Frontier like we are, you might want to get a 26 because the 27 Nissan Frontier, well, it just got more expensive for 27. Do you guys remember when you could get the base model in a king cab with a 4-cylinder stick and it was $19,920 not that long ago? That was a great truck. 2-wheel drive. I was able to get one of those. They actually had that exact truck in white in the media fleet, and I drove it for a week. It was so simple. I just loved driving that truck. It's crazy to me that the pricing is all the way up at almost $35,000 just to get in. And that does include the $1,745 destination charge, and that's an entry-level king cab, 4x2, automatic, 6-foot bed. So it's about $430 more than before, and that's sort of where you're at across the lineup. Now, the newly launched Sport Edition, which we talked about in our Overland Expo episode, that's an additional $990 on the SV trim, and it adds some Pro 4X styling and kind of sits between the two grades. It's actually a pretty nice package. But the price change for a Frontier S Crew Cab 4x2, That is up $340. An SV Crew Cab 4x2, $300. A Pro X Crew Cab 4x2, $320. And now the Frontier Pro X Crew Cab 4x4 starts with destination $43,930. That's $320 more than before. So you're buying a $40-something-thousand truck. Do you care about $300? I don't know. Let me know. truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. All right, let's get into some quick hits.
Quick hits. Quick hits.
These are the quick news bites that don't deserve their own segment. So first up, when the new Ram Charger is built, it'll get a V8 rather than the Hurricane Straight 6 of the more luxury-oriented platform-make Grand Wagoneer. This is by design because they want to give each vehicle its own personality and hedge against cannibalizing sales within the same showrooms, because there's a lot of Ram and Jeep dealers that share a showroom. The Grand Wagoneer will also get an E-Rev drivetrain later this year, and the Ram Charger will be getting the SRT badge version as well. Also, Jaguar Land Rover has never built a vehicle in the U.S., but thanks to a partnership with Stellantis. That's going to change soon. So JLR says that the U.S. accounts for 30% of its business, and it wants to grow here. And the first model to benefit from this partnership will be the Defender, which should help JLR save on tariffs by having it built at a Stellantis plant here in the United States. And then next up, another Nissan piece. Once again, Nissan confirmed it's not walking away from the tried and true, normally aspirated V6 engine in its trucks and SUVs. So here's a fun one. What vehicle is number one when it comes to catalytic converter thefts? Which vehicle? I remember when it was like Honda Accords and Toyota Camrys and Toyota trucks and SUVs. But according to Carfax, it's actually the Ford F-150. It ranked first among all vehicles in the U.S. in terms of catalytic converter theft in 25. It was followed by the Hyundai Tucson, Ford Explorer, Ram 2500, Chevy Silverado, Chevy Traverse, Ram 3500, Ford EcoSport, Ford Expedition, and the Chevy Trax. I find that interesting because you would think the trucks make sense because they're high, so you can get up and under them. But some of these cheap cars, which are low to the ground, seem to be big targets as well. Who knew? All right, let's hit a recall before we end the show.
Check engine light just went on. Noise under the hood ticks like a bomb. Recall covers metal, glass, leather, and plastic. Door handle pulled off in my hand. Just fantastic.
I was amused when I came across this one because more than 12,000 Ram heavy-duty trucks are being recalled because their top speed is set above their tire rating.
Say what?
So apparently, Ram thinks there's about 12,736 2500 HD pickups built between June 21st, 22 and April 14th, 2026 that have this defect. So they all wear R-rated tires from the factory. So that's a 106 mile an hour limit. So normally Ram would limit their trucks to 105, and that way they're under the tire limit. Well, it doesn't say how much higher the limit is, but it's above 105. Don't go out onto the highway or public road and find out if your truck's affected by going faster than 105. It's unsafe, especially on tires not rated for it. Fortunately, the fix is super simple. Owners just have to go down to the dealer and they'll get a software update on the powertrain control module. So if you're curious if your truck is part of this, the safety recall is 26V288, or if you go to your dealership, the manufacturer recall 43D. And again, 100% of 12,736 vehicles are estimated to have this defect. Ram's not aware of any accidents or injuries from this one. But if you're concerned, you can check with your dealer or head online, throw your VIN in there, and find out if your vehicle is affected. Other than that, get your software update or get faster tires.
That's funny. I don't recall asking for a really boring story. My God. Don't you understand? No one cares.
And on that note, we're just going to end the show. So fine. I see how it is. Don't forget to follow us on social at Truck Show Podcast or at Sean P. Holman. Send us an email if you want us to read it on the air, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, or if you have an opinion on something. I love hearing from you guys. Of course, be a part of the show by leaving a message on the 5-star hotline, 657-205-6105. And don't forget to spend $100 or more by June 30th to get yourself a free bottle of Quick Detailer by using the code DETAIL626 at amsoil.com, or use our special link, truckshowpodcast.com. You can find it under the Featured Products tab. And if you're looking for a good knife, Kershaw.kaiusa.com or the best off-road outdoor lifestyle magazine, OVRmag.com. And don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Thanks for listening. We'll do it again real soon.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis, hosted by Sean Holman, and uses production elements by DJ Omar Khan and Jay Tillis. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to support the show than by sharing it and patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.